computer. Okay, fair enough. I think that's got us settled. Right, I'm just going to share my screen, which is always wait.
Okay.
Right. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I had that open. Right. Okay. Right. There we are. Share my screen. Okay. So it's a little bit difficult for me to understand what you can see, but can you see the bit that says using the Sustainability St Albans Community Thermal Imaging Camera?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fabulous. Right. Okay. So this is using a presentation that's been prepared by the St Albans Sustainability Group, and we're borrowing their camera. Okay. So my role is to take us through their presentation, which is about 10 slides or so. It's not, well, maybe it's a little bit more, but some are pictures. So it won't take very long. But the idea is to give us some sort of familiarity with what the camera is about, what it might be able to do for us, and then a very brief introduction about how we might use it. But I know Nigel has sent a link through that gives you some more detail of how to use it. Just as a sort of a heads up, we lent out the camera about, I think it was just before lockdown, about 3-4 years ago. And there were various ways of using it. There were people like me that just wanted to get it, point it, have a quick look, and that was enough. And there were other people that were real techies, and they wanted to get into the detail of it, and they wanted to download the photos and save them and all that sort of stuff. So there's more detail, which will be on some paper copies of information that you're given when you get the camera, and also in the video that Nigel's sent. But it can be really, really easy. And the purpose of my presentation today is just to show us how we can use it on a really easy basis. So the 4 things we're going to cover is a quick introduction to Sustainability St Albans, who have, say, been really good and kind to lend us the camera. Talking about how to use the camera, what the camera can show you, and the next step from here. So, can you see the next slide now?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So, who is Sustainability St Albans? They're a group of people that is a registered charity. They're part of a transition network movement, which is certainly a nationwide. In fact, I think it's spread to other countries as well. All about, how can we manage and care for our environment. And there's a group of them. They do all sorts of things in St Albans to help people live a more sustainable life. And on this slide now, as I say, that there's lots of different aspects to the work they do. They share information about growing food. They share information about local markets and buying locally, etc. Supporting the local environment and trying to reduce food miles. About the street parties and people socializing together and getting value from their community friendships, etc. So there's lots and lots of different aspects of what they do. But say one of the elements is that they've got 3 cameras which they've bought. They've obtained funding from various sources, including the county councillors have donated some money to support them to buy the cameras, and now they're available for the community to use. So can you see the slide now that says how to use the camera overview?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Typically what we need to do is we need to find a time when there's about a 10 degree, or at least a 10-degree difference between indoor temperatures and outdoor temperatures. Now we're just, we're breaking into the early season to do that. So we might find that that's a little bit of a challenge, especially in the mornings, for the people that have got the camera in the mornings. I think in the evenings the temperatures will probably be dropping more substantially. But again, in my view, that's the ideal situation, but you still get a pretty good idea, so long as there's some differentiation between indoors and outdoors. So what it's aimed to do is to help you notice what the temperature differentiations are in your windows and walls and all that sort of thing. And it can also help you identify where you've got leaking water pipes, because that typically will make the area colder than it would do if the wall or the area wasn't damp. They say it's important to avoid using the camera in direct sunlight. Well, I'm probably not going to get too much of that in the times that we have it, or outdoors in very adverse weather. And it's important not to point the camera at the sun. The camera is actually a laser, so it's a little bit delicate, and you certainly don't want to be pointing it at each other's eyes, but I'm sure you'll be aware of that. So we'll talk a little bit more about how it gets switched on, etc. Later, but yeah, there is that safety bit about not pointing it at people, animals, or to the sky. There's a power on and power off button, which again we'll talk a little bit more. And ideally, you should stand about 1.2 meters away from whatever it is that you're measuring. Part of the reason for that is that your body will be transmitting heat as well. So if you stand very close to the object that you're measuring, some of that will be influenced by your body heat. So it's best to make sure you've got a reasonable distance. And basically you can, take the camera, walk around your house, and observe how the pictures change. But if you want, you can also capture the images. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about what's available there.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're taking the images, if you want, you can. There's a an SD card in the camera, so you can transfer the images onto that, or you can actually put in your own SD card into the camera, and then the images that you transfer will obviously be stored on your SD card, etc. And then it tells you a little bit how you can freeze the image by pulling the green trigger on the back of the camera, and then it'll sort of like your phone, it'll take a photograph of it. I know last time quite a lot of people, rather than fiddling around with trying to store the images on the camera, they just took a photograph of what they could see on the camera lens, or on the camera back bit where you see the image. They took a photograph of it with their iPhone or with their smartphone. So that's another way you can just capture the image, so that you've got something to refer to. Right. So you can basically use the camera on the indoors, and then in that situation you're pointing it at objects, and you're looking for the cold spots are the problem areas when you're indoors looking out, because the camera is recording where they're leaking. There's cold areas leaking into your house. Yeah. Alternatively, you can be standing outside, and you can be looking at where the heat is leaking, and there you want to be looking for the red areas. They're the problem areas because heat is leaking out of your house. Okay, so there's two differentials when you're looking at the results as to whether they're good or bad. Personally, I think most of us have found the value in being in the house and looking for the cold spots in the house. So you're looking for the blue areas and they're the bad areas. Okay. My phone is going crazy. It's probably Nigel trying to get through something. Right. So that bit, I think. So how to use the camera outside. There's a manual setting and there's an automatic setting. If you're using the camera outside, you really should be moving towards the manual setting on the camera, as this is illustrated in these two photographs, because otherwise the sky influences the picture that you're getting too much. Because when there's a big differential in temperatures, the sky will be particularly cold, and then that sort of blocks out the differentiation of your picture. So you want to change it to a manual setting if you're looking on the outside of the house. And then this is again looking at the outside. You want to stand directly in front of a window, but if you're in front of the window close to it and you can see your reflection, you need to be aware that your body will be giving off temperature, as I say, and it will be distorting the picture that you're seeing. So that you'll have plenty of time to fiddle with it and find the best spot for where you want to be taking your photographs. And then the second picture here is saying that, again, if you're on the outside and it's been a particularly sunny day, then your bricks and things will have absorbed quite a lot of the temperature, even though the temperature's dropped. Then the bricks will still be quite warm, and you'll be seeing that in your photographs. But it doesn't mean, obviously, that your house is leaking a lot of heat through all those bricks. What it means is that the bricks have just absorbed some heat during the course of the day. But who knows what the temperature is going to be like over the next couple of weeks whilst we've got the camera. So when you get the camera, there's an information pack in there, which is quite extensive, to be honest, and people have certainly found it very useful. And there's also a manufacturer's guide for more technical issues. So if you really want to delve a bit deeper, then there's further information. There's also a copy of this presentation, so you can remind yourselves as to what we've discussed about. And then there's the how to use video that Nigel sent you the link of. Again, there's some more information on, if you can't find Nigel's link, there'll be information in the pack with the camera that shows you how to find that again. So lots and lots of opportunities there to help you. But as I say, it really is pretty simple. There's a sustainability St Albans website, again, with lots and lots of links and information. The important thing to remember about the camera that you're borrowing is it's the community camera. There's three cameras. There's the St Albans camera, there's the Harpenden camera, and then there's the camera. And we're borrowing the community camera. So if you look at the website, then that's really what you want to be looking for. So let's just have a quick look at how the camera can help you. It can, it's pretty obvious. It can highlight where you've got drafts, where you've got coal bridges in the house, where you've got inadequate insulation. And as I mentioned, when you're looking on the inside out, then you're looking for, well, the blue is cold. Inside or outside, the blue is cold, but it's when you're on the inside, the cold areas are bad. When you're on the outside, the cold areas are good. Okay. this is an image that's taken from the inside. So the dark area shows heat being lost through a single glazed window. Okay, so this is on the inside. You can see that the cold air is coming in through those single glazed windows, and therefore it's a bad sign. Okay. When you're looking at the image taken outside, then you're looking, as an example, at the letterbox. That's blue. That means that a lot of heat is not coming through the letterbox hole, and therefore that's a good sign, because you're not losing heat through the letterbox. Okay, but it shows that you are losing heat through the single glazed glass panels in the door. So warmth is coming out through that door to the outside, so that's a bad thing. Okay. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay, as I say, it really is, it's lovely and simple. So a few areas that people commonly find that they identify within the house. Drafts coming up between floorboards. There's obviously more of a movement to people not having carpets nowadays. So those people that have stripped back your floorboards and things, we've got that in our dining room, and I know we've got an area that's particularly cold, with a gap from underneath the floorboards. And apparently drafts coming between stairs. That's not something I've experienced, but apparently that's something that that people find quite prevalent. And a really good idea is to look at your radiators to see if they need flushing out, because if they've got an imbalance in the heat temperature throughout the radiator, it'll mean that they need bleeding, and the water's not being circulated through the whole of the area, and therefore they're less efficient than they would be otherwise. So that's something that's well worth looking at, I think, on all your radiators. And then on the other side of the image, we've got the radiator heat leaking through the outside wall. So again, you'll judge this from looking outside, and you'll find a warm spot on your outside wall, which means that you're heating the outside to some degree, probably not as much as you're heating it on the inside, but you're heating the outside to some degree. And that's something that's fairly easy to resolve. And that's something that we in our house, we identify that as a problem. And we just got some of the foil sheeting that you can put behind your radiators to make sure that the heat's reflected back into your room rather than going through the brickwork. And we were very pleased to identify that in our house, and it's easy peasy to resolve. Loft hatches can be a problem area if they themselves are not properly insulated on the other side of the hatch. Then clearly heat can be leaking out, and cold can be leaking in those situations. And you might find areas where you just haven't got any insulation in your roof that you weren't aware of. And again, that can be, the camera can be very helpful in identifying that. Might not be that obvious to the eye. Not all lofts are fully accessible, are they? So that's something that's worthwhile having a look at. So, is that making sense so far?
Yes, that's pretty good.
Okay. Chris, am I right in thinking, did you borrow the camera before?
I didn't. No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. No, fair enough. No, I just had it in the back of my mind that that we'd had this sort of conversation before, but it must be somebody very similar. Don't worry.
No, I did ask about it. I think earlier in the year, maybe I said, "Is there one available?"
Oh, right. Okay.
I think
fair enough. Well, it was probably that inquiry that got us to think about. Oh yes, maybe we should do that again, and
Okay.
and get and speak to the sustainability people. And
Okay.
they've been very, very, very happy to extend the reach of it. So you'll see on the website, the Sustainability St Albans website, that there are some guides that you can download there, a beginner's guides to eco renovation. So that's sort of easy peasy ideas to think about insulating your house better. And there's also a stay warm for less energy saving hacks for the home. So, and so one of the things that we identified from this was the foil panels to put behind your radiator. But there's, draft excluders, all sorts of things that don't necessarily have to cost very much money, but that they can make quite a big difference to the snug feel of your house, as well as the energy consumption. So when you collect the camera, as I say, you'll get a pack of information. Nigel, I think he's explained in the email, we'll need a £200 deposit from you. The cameras cost more than £1,000, but they're insured, but there's a £200 excess. So we're not expecting any problems. They're really quite robust cameras. I don't think there's ever been any damage to them. But just to safeguard everybody, then we'll be asking for either an envelope with £200 in cash in it, or a cheque made payable to WDPS for £200. And then as soon as you return the camera, we'll give you the envelope or your cheque back. So we won't be banking the cheque or doing anything with it. It'll just be there held as a deposit just in case somebody absconds and we never see them again, or whatever, from the to safeguard everybody. The Facebook group, which you'll find again information from in the pack, and the sustainability stalkers people are very interested for people to upload their photographs that they find with the odd comment in terms of how they used it, how they found it helpful. So to spread the word amongst the people that have joined the Facebook community. So that's always valuable. And then really their Sustainability St Albans are asking if you feel suitably inclined, then a small donation towards the cost of the insurance for the cameras and the general upkeep, etc., for borrowing the camera would be really much appreciated. And this can be done as a cheque to Sustainable St Albans. And again, there's more details on the website, but Nigel would be happy to, if you want to pay cash, Nigel will take that and we'll make sure it all gets through to the Sustainability St Albans people. Okay. So, to be honest, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what it's about. The bit that we really do need to fully understand is deciphering Nigel's schedule.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, isn't it? We all do the same. You put through a whole load of information, and the very bit of information that we really critically need is which date have we got them, because we've got it for 2 weeks, and there's clearly more than one Monday and Tuesday, etc., in that 2 week period. So it's a little bit hard to decipher that. But what I'll do is I'll speak to Nigel and we'll agree that and recirculate that so you've got the date.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, great. Thank you.
okay. So any questions about the logistics, picking it up from Nigel's place? He's given us time frames, hasn't he, when he wants us to pick it up and when he wants us to return it. What we've done this time is, because there were a lot of people that wanted to use it, we've actually done half-day sessions, and we hope that will work, and it'll mean therefore that everybody's expressed an interest can be accommodated in some way.
That's good. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, super.
Right. Fair enough. Well, I think if everybody's happy with that, then we'll speak to Nigel, get the schedule recirculated with dates, and happy using it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Super. Thanks a lot, Julie.
Thanks,
Okay.
Julie.
Thank you. Yeah.
Then take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.